At the age of 52, the bald Kenzaburo unexpectedly reincarnated as a blonde, blue-eyed, beautiful young girl. Moreover, he found himself in the world of his daughter's Otome game, where his new identity, Miss Grace, was the game's notorious Villainess. Kenzaburo regained his previous life's memories after hitting his head while saving a young boy and was transported to this world by a truck. Why would a 52-year-old civil servant be reborn as the daughter of a duke in an Otome game? He was about to retire, but now found himself entangled in romantic dramas with young, attractive people. More importantly, before regaining his memories, the body's original personality was that of a stereotypical evil young lady. Now under Kenzaburo's control, the personality would undoubtedly change. Kenzaburo remembered seeing his daughter playing this game in the living room and had curiously asked about the blonde young lady on the screen. His daughter explained that she was a character who schemed against the protagonist, essentially the Villainess. The old anime fan Kenzaburo felt a bit nostalgic. Indeed, the rivals of heroines in such stories often had this hairstyle. Now Kenzaburo was sure that he had crossed into the world of that Otome game and was a student at the Royal Magic Academy. Today was the first day of school, and the pink-haired beauty, undoubtedly the true heroine Anna, was excitedly crossing the school gates. However, she immediately tripped and fell flat, but this didn't dampen her spirits as she looked forward to her first day. As the evil young lady, how could Grace miss this opportunity to mock and belittle? After all, Anna was a commoner who, in Grace's eyes, didn't deserve to attend the same school as the nobility. Taking advantage of her status, she scolded Anna and even insulted her beloved family, which only strengthened Anna's resolve to study magic diligently and one day repay Grace in kind. As the story demanded, commoner Anna entered the school as the top student, a place traditionally reserved for nobility. Everyone expected Grace to humiliate this peasant girl, but the words that came out surprised everyone. "You must have been raised under the careful guidance of knowledgeable parents." Indeed, Kenzaburo had instantly forgotten his role as the antagonist and accidentally spoke a parent's sincere words. Grace's words struck a chord with Anna, who immediately felt admiration for her. However, others misunderstood Anna's tears as being caused by Grace's scolding. In a panic, Kenzaburo hurriedly pulled Anna away, advising her that this place, where the nobility gathered, was not the setting to display such emotions openly. Anna quickly acknowledged the lesson, explaining she was just moved because her family had worked hard to afford her magic school tuition due to her natural talent in magic. She resolved to study hard and earn enough to give her family a better life. Kenzaburo, as a parent himself, had a different view. He told Anna that she should focus on personal growth and living a happy life, which is what parents truly hope for. Anna was moved to tears again because that was exactly what her family had told her. Having hit the mark twice, Anna now held immense respect for Miss Grace. Then the first male lead made his entrance, Grace's fiancé, and the first prince of the country. As a 52-year-old, Kenzaburo couldn't remember his name. Quick thinking, after Virgil and Anna greeted each other, Kenzaburo introduced himself first, then cleverly asked Anna to guess the handsome man's name, hinting that he was the first prince. Anna immediately guessed Virgil's name, smoothly getting past the awkward moment. Anna and Virgil formally met, but strangely, Anna's reaction made her seem more like a follower of the supposed villainous Grace. Kenzaburo and Anna returned to the academic building and encountered the headmaster along the way. Decades of corporate life in Japan had honed Kenzaburo's reflex to bow, which surprisingly translated into a noble's greeting in this new world. A grace of Kenzaburo's transition to this fantasy setting called elegant transformation. In the classroom, each student received a magic textbook. Anna once again appreciated her parents for the chance to study at such a prestigious school. Yet she was schooled by Grace when she showed excitement, being told to save it for her room. Kenzaburo thought he was maintaining a villainous demeanor, unaware that this only made Anna rely on and admire Grace more, seeing her as a gentle person and a model of high society. Anna was determined to emulate Lady Grace. Grace was focused during the lecture. With her rejuvenated body, she could see everything clearly, from the small print in books to the blackboard, which made Kenzaburo extremely happy. However, Anna mistook his happiness for a love of learning. Then, a cabinet was brought to the front of the classroom, filled with many eggs, and each student was allowed to choose one. Meanwhile, in the student council office, Prince Virgil and another male lead, Auguste, were discussing which students to invite to join the student council. Members were chosen based on academic performance, family background, and personality. Anna, who topped the entrance exams, was a definite choice. Grace also qualified based on her family and grades, but there were concerns about her previous personality clashing with Anna. However, after witnessing her behavior that morning, Virgil felt Grace might have changed and decided to observe her a bit longer. At that moment, Kenzaburo and Anna were at the cafeteria, which was buffet style. Anna, thinking of her family, wanted to take some food home, but was scolded by Grace. Kenzaburo thought he was acting the part of the villain, but Anna saw it as caring discipline from Lady Grace. Soon, a dispute arose between some noble ladies and a server. The school required all students to carry their meals to the table themselves, a task unfamiliar to the ladies. However, when they saw even the Duke's daughter, Grace, complying, they had nothing more to say. Moreover, Grace praised the food as delicious, which distracted Kenzaburo from the squabble as he savored the cuisine of this new world. He realized this was no longer just the game world he knew. These were real people, and he should show proper etiquette, such as thanking the chef after a meal. So, after returning his tray, Kenzaburo asked the server to convey his compliments to the chef, calling the meal deliciously elegant. Who could have imagined that, without realizing it, this supposed villainess had become a role model for all the girls at the school? Kenzaburo was originally just an ordinary 52-year-old civil servant and also a dedicated anime fan who believed that merchandise of my favorite shows is only valuable if used. His daughter also adhered to this principle under his guidance. Kenzaburo always walked to work, and even with the availability of modern calculators, he preferred using an abacus. After meals, he made it a point to thank the chef personally, and at work, he was a very reliable senior colleague. However, this perfect bald salaryman ended up in another world after trying to save a young boy from a truck on his way home from work. He even reincarnated as the villainess in a dating sim game his daughter played. After some time adjusting, Kenzaburo gradually became accustomed to this new world. Although a seasoned fan of anime, he wasn't familiar with games targeted at women. Even so, he could tell that the handsome men he met were the game's main characters. Grace and Anna were summoned to the student council, which included the president Virgil, the head of security Augusta, vice president Richard, and secretary Pierre, whose faces Kenzaburo recognized from the game's cover. His role as the antagonist was to thwart the romance between one of these potential suitors and the protagonist Anna. Virgil spoke first, expressing his desire to invite both to join the student council. Anna, being a commoner, was flattered by the invitation. Meanwhile, Kenzaburo was internally conflicted about how to impede their romance. Just then, Virgil called on him. Anna had just expressed concerns about whether it was appropriate for a commoner like her to join the council. Virgil wanted to hear Grace's opinion on the matter. Kenzaburo recalled that the student council considered academic performance and family background before the president made a decision on membership. Anna, despite being a commoner, had the top entrance exam score, which naturally qualified her for the council. In fact, her outstanding performance as a commoner was proof of her exceptional abilities, making her a valuable asset to the council. Grace's fair assessment surprised everyone, and Kenzaburo panicked, realizing he had accidentally acted out of character. OOC. Anna looked at Grace admiringly after hearing her words. Kenzaburo had to think quickly to rectify the situation. He wanted to sternly remind Anna that joining the council would require facing the etiquette of noble society, and he was prepared to thoroughly teach her these customs. When it came time to put his stern demeanor into practice, Kenzaburo couldn't maintain the harsh attitude. Instead, he spoke to Anna with a gentle and elegant tone, which actually increased everyone's fondness for him. Ultimately, both Anna and Grace became members of the student council. After leaving the office, Anna felt as if she were dreaming, while Kenzaburo busied himself with pondering which romantic path Anna would take. Would it be with Prince Virgil, the dashing head of security, the silent long-haired handsome guy, or the serious black-haired one? If you wonder why they are all handsome, it's because Kenzaburo simply couldn't remember their names. A few days after enrollment, the new students finally began their practical magic courses. The teacher had set up a barrier in the courtyard to ensure students could safely perform magic. After explaining this, the lesson began with downloading a basic magic circle onto their wands, then inputting commands using ancient magical script to complete the spell. Thus, the first thing they had to learn was these ancient magical scripts. Some students wondered why they couldn't use regular script. The reason was that if others could read the script on the magic circle, non-magical thoughts might interfere, dispersing the magic's power. Therefore, a language that only those versed in magic could understand and script endowed with spiritual power were necessary. To generate such power, the script must have been used by many over several generations, making ancient magical scripts the most suitable. However, Kenzaburo found that Japanese also met these criteria. He tried writing fire in Japanese on the magic circle and was surprised when it actually produced flames. Adding another fire increased the intensity of the flames. Seeing Grace steal the spotlight, someone became displeased. Then Anna also showed off her skills. As the game's protagonist, her magic circle shone differently from others, indicating her potential magical power was enormous. However, at that moment, a rogue golem started causing havoc. The boy who had been displeased with Grace had passed out from overloading the golem with too much magic. As the golem approached Anna, she was unable to deactivate her magic circle and escape. In desperation, Kenzaburo wrote the words "stop" in Japanese on her magic circle, which surprisingly made the golem halt. The boy was then summoned to the teacher's office. Kenzaburo was amazed by how lenient the judgments in this world were, but was relieved that everything turned out all right. However, Grace's maid, especially the intern Josette, was quite troubled. She was not used to the young lady's sudden change from being haughty to being gentle and polite. The maids were speculating about what had happened, guessing it might be the calm before the storm. Perhaps the lady was planning to fire them, trying to be nice before letting them go. Hearing this, Josette became even more anxious, fearing she'd be the first to be sold as she was the most clumsy. Just as she was worrying, she accidentally broke Grace's teapot. Kenzaburo hurried over to see if she was hurt, only to hear her asking to be sold to a place where she could continue being a maid. Kenzaburo immediately understood her fear and reassured Josette that he would not sell her. He added that if maids were dismissed after every mistake, no one could ever become a skilled maid. Josette was shocked by this reassurance. Kenzaburo realized that his sudden change had confused the maids, but he couldn't bring himself to be harsh again. Instead, he decided to spoil her completely, even hand-feeding Josette cookies, which she couldn't resist despite her confusion. Then, taking the broken teapot, Kenzaburo and Josette went to see Master Bals, a dwarf craftsman employed by the Duke's family. The teapot only had a broken spout, and Bals fixed it in 20 minutes. Kenzaburo watched the repair, impressed by Bals's craftsmanship. Bals reminisced that Grace used to frequently watch him work, but as she grew up and received a lady's education, she gradually distanced herself from these activities, becoming stricter with herself and others, and harsher with the servants, eventually turning into the villainous Grace. But the original young Grace was supposed to be gentler. Thus, Kenzaburo decided to continue the old Grace's habits and asked Master Bals to allow him to come and visit again in the future.